Have you ever had slow eBay sales and wondered why I have slow eBay sales? Well, in this video, we're going to be going over the strategies that I used in 2022 to help achieve over $178,000 in sales on eBay selling pre-owned clothing. So we're going to deep dive those exact systems and processes, going into like what I did specifically to achieve that type of sales volume, and really just deep diving that consistency is really the key to achieving consistent results. So let's look at what I did to achieve those results in 2022 and what I'm planning to do in 2023 to kind of build upon those types of sales. I hope you're all doing well. Smash the like button if you're getting value, and let's get right into the lesson. So, something for me that I've always wanted to become is being consistent. And by being on eBay, really the only way to play the eBay game is through consistency. So, I really needed to become a consistent person in my relationships, in my character, in all aspects of life for me to be able to transfer those qualities of consistency to eBay. It's very hard to be consistent on eBay and not be consistent in other places in your life. Consistency is a skill that is to be mastered and then served to the world. So being consistent is the key to being successful on eBay and being committed to that process. So I have just come up with just a few slides here that are going to go more in detail on the process of what I did to achieve $178,000 in sales on eBay. And let me tell you just right away that it was nothing fancy or spectacular that I did to achieve those types of results. It was literally just being consistent in the mundane, boring fundamentals of eBay and being consistent in that process and adhering to those principles. So listing on eBay can be boring. Even sourcing at times can be kind of boring. Shipping, boring, right? But at the same time, in those boring processes is where the money is made. So if you like making money, then you really need to be able to master and grasp those boring things that we have to do in our business to really be successful. So let's get right into it here. And I just want to go over the details of the sales report. So you can see here $178,000 in sales on eBay. We sold just under 7,000 items. And, like I said, it's just mainly pre-owned clothing. It wasn't like Gucci handbags and Louis Vuitton rings. And it was literally like Gap, Nike, Carhartt, North Face, Citizens of Humanity, Lucky Brand, very common mall brand clothing. That's what I was selling. And you can see here, we average about $25, $26 per item average sale price. And you can see 8,100 was collected by eBay. And that was more of like their fees. And then selling costs is referring to shipping. So shipping labels, I spend about $4,000 to $6,000 a month in shipping. So that's something to consider going forward is like, what's your plan? What are you planning to do? Are you offering free shipping? Are you just doing first class mail? Are you mainly a priority seller? Like, what are you selling? Are you selling hard goods that would typically need to go out UPS ground? So you need to be able to understand your numbers so you can really know how much you're making in your business. So you could see $76,000 was selling costs. And then we had a few auctions here. Down at the bottom, we sold things like I had bought some storage units, right? So in those storage units, they did have some valuable items that I don't typically sell. So I sold these vintage speakers that were still new in box from the mid 90s. And then we sold some bikes, which I did not enjoy shipping out. And we sold just some more bigger hard goods that I didn't really want to sell locally. And I wanted to sell on eBay just to be able to maximize more eyes on those items to be able to get more money for them. So I did a few auctions, but I don't typically do auctions, and I just do fixed price listings with best offer turned on. So right here is your net after the 178,000 and after the shipping fees and after eBay fees, you're looking at 94,000, right? So that is excluding my cost of goods, which I spent about $13,800 in cost of goods for the entire year last year, which put me around $1.75 per item. And that was a mix between bulk buyouts and buying storage units and doing all of the sourcing methods that kind of are familiar with longer term resellers. If you're a newer reseller, you may be familiar with garage sales and estate sales and going to retail thrift stores and Goodwill outlets. Well, I used all of those strategies in addition to buying bulk. Since I was able to know what kind of items that were selling in my store, I really just needed to understand I need to go out and grab the same item because this is what's selling. So I just keep picking up Nike. I kept picking up American Eagle. I kept picking up Gap women's jeans. I kept picking up those same items that were selling time and time again in my eBay store. It's nothing crazy, right? So staying committed to the items that are consistently selling in your store is a key factor to be like, well, now how can I get more of these? So I did a combination of sourcing piece by piece from the Goodwill outlet, Goodwill bins, as well as garage sales, estate sales, and now buying in bulk, which is mainly what I do in my business. I buy big lots. I buy 500 pieces at a time, 200 pieces at a time, 1,000 pieces at a time. And typically that is going to lower your cost of goods to where now I'm paying maybe 50 cents to a dollar per item rather than $2, $4, $6, which can really add up in the long run. But that is not to say I don't spend more money on those nicer items. The majority of the items that I do buy are around 50 cents to a dollar in those bulk buyout deals. So those sourcing methods was what I was implementing last year to be able to achieve this type of growth. The categories that we were mainly selling in were men's clothing. And I say that because when we bought this storage unit back in June of last year, it was predominantly filled with new tag men's clothing. So that's why you see here on this sheet that it's all the categories are men's, but I do sell women's clothing as well. But these men's clothing were all new with tags, so you're going to be seeing higher values on that. So men's jeans, for example, we sold $22,000 in men's jeans. And that is a combination of pre-owned and used. That's not all from the storage unit, but yeah, we came out with about 5,000 pieces within, it was like 4 storage units. That was roughly, the amount of men's clothing. And then men's pants, so like chino pants, cargo pants, everything but denim jeans, was 18,300. And then you're seeing here we had coats and jackets and vests was about $17,000. And you can see behind me we still have about 500 coats and jackets still in stock in the inventory. And that was also a blessing that came from that. But it was also a combination of picking up jackets during the summertime when no one's picking them up. That is a strategy that I always do. I pick up shorts in the winter. I pick up jackets in the summer because other resellers may not have the space to be able to hold on those items when that's the sales volume in those categories really kick in more in the winter and then shorts in the summer. So I always pick up jackets and casual button-down shirts. This is men's, just button-up shirts, about $13,000 in sales for the year. And then men's sweaters was about 11,200. So really honing in on the type of items that you're picking up in your eBay store, and then they call this niching down, right? The importance to that is being able to source those items time and time to be able to create a repeatable process to be able to just speed up your processes and your systems to really master that. It's really hard for a person like me to go out and source a VCR, a TV, a baseball bat, a baseball glove, bowling pins, and just go, yeah, whatever makes a profit. But you need to consider, like, how am I going to store that? And how am I going to ship that? Because that's going to take a lot more time and energy to be able to box these up and pack them up so they don't break, and to get them from point A to point B. It's really going to cut down on my time. And I don't have a lot of time to waste. I'm very conscious of my time. I don't like to waste it. So whenever I'm in this warehouse, I'm working. I'm not here just sitting around. Oh, wow. Oh, look. I'm working. And that's the thing too, is like, our time is valuable. I know your time is valuable. I don't want to waste your time. I want to bring you value. And this is why I have started the eBay coaching program, where you can join for just $1 a day. I provide 5 hours a week of coaching via Zoom, helping you put a system and a process in place that helped me reach over $100,000 in sales within just my first year on eBay. So you can find it in the link in the description down below. And included in that is an eBay store review, where I can overlook your store, see what's going on, how your titles, how is your pricing, what type of items you're listing. I also include within that a reseller spreadsheet to help keep track of those expenses and your gas and your cost of goods, and also putting in the items that you are listing to be able to see when these items sell, how much you're exactly making, because we really need to understand that eBay takes 14%. And then if you're promoting your listings, that may be another 10%. And what you may think be profitable is actually you're just making pennies, or you're maybe even in the hole of some items. So really keeping track of your items with that spreadsheet included in the coaching is going to help you realize, oh, I shouldn't pick up those items again, and maybe I should pick up more of these items. So you can check it out down in the description. I'd love to work with you. And it really is my true passion, is helping people, not eBay. eBay is great, and it's a great way to duplicate money. It is one of the best opportunities to take $1 and turn it into 20. But also at the same time, we need to realize, what is that long-term vision for your life? Were you born just to do eBay and die? No, we're born for more. And this is why I, working 15 years in customer service, I know the struggle of the 9 to 5 and having someone own your time, right? But at the same time, getting on eBay is a great opportunity to kind of break away from that 9 to 5. And now your time is your time. But I'll tell you this, it's not going to be an easy time. You may have to work harder. You may have to put in more hours. But at the same time, you're going to be able to build something that is sustainable, and something that you can see 5-10 years down the road, where maybe you have employees, and maybe you're just managing your eBay business. And maybe now you can do the things that you want to do, like write that book you've been thinking about writing, about building that business you've been thinking about building. So eBay is great, but also I really love helping people. And that's why I have started the coaching program, and just really just wanting to bring as much value to the beginner eBayer versus like maybe you're a long-term veteran where you will still get value. But my goal is like the beginners, because as me as a beginner, I wish I had that same thing available right away, to be able to have that one-on-one time to be able to answer my questions immediately. So you can also get access to the Discord server, where I'm available to answer any questions as well. So let's go into like some of the principles that I used to be able to achieve these sales, right? So it's always those adherence to principles that are really going to make the difference. Principles are keys. And what do keys do? They open doors. So the door to your future is open through a key. That's what principles are. They're keys for you to use to be successful. And eBay has a bit of keys that we really need to understand to be able to really do what the algorithm is wanting us to do. So the first key here is management. Management is the key that starts it all off. And I say this whereas much is attracted to the effective management of little, meaning that if you just manage what you have now, much will come. It cannot help itself. Much will be attracted to that little management. It's taking the resources you have now and making the most of what you have. That's what the word economy comes from. To economize means to make the most out of the least. So what are you doing right now in your eBay business to manage? Are you managing your inventory? Are you managing your listings, your returns, your processes? What are you doing in your life right now to take that next step in your business? So whatever you mismanage, you will lose. No matter how fast your growth is, no matter how great things are, whatever you mismanage, you will lose. It is a principle. So you may be seeing growth so great in things. Oh man, this business went from 0 to 10 million in 1 year. But it is all about how are you managing that growth. And this is why I believe in the principle of slow and steady wins the race. You might not want to grow too fast on eBay, because if you cannot keep up with the management, you may be out of business within a year, within a day. You got to really be conscious of how are you managing your growth. And maybe you don't want to grow too fast, because we're trying to do this for the long run. So the second principle here is sourcing value. And this goes back to finding those items that are consistently selling in your business that are going to be selling time and time again, and that you can find easily. So sourcing value, finding the same items over and over. Are you looking at your sales and are you going through your items and going, hey, this was a 50% margin item. This was 300% margin. Are you writing down those brands and going, hey, next time I go out sourcing, I should maybe try to look for these items because they've been selling and selling at a good margin. So not just sourcing any items, but sourcing in demand items. The basis of how economies function is through supply and demand, which is really what we're always need to be checking is sell-through rates. Like you always hear it all the time, sell-through rate, sell-through rate. Sell-through rate means supply and demand. What is the supply compared to the demand on eBay? So check out what you're selling, look at your sales and go, maybe I should pick that up again. Number 3 is a listing habit. I had been listing every day on eBay for about 18 months straight. And then we moved and I took a week off, more of like as an experiment to see what would happen if I stopped listing. And by listing every day for 18 months, it started at 10 a day, 15 a day, 20 a day. Listing every day was the key component to be able to tell eBay that, hey, eBay, I'm putting up stuff. Are you going to give me the traffic in compared to what I'm listing? Because if you're not listing every day, you're going to get inconsistent traffic, which will lead to inconsistent sales. So listing every day, even if it's just one item a day, you are telling the eBay algorithm that I am being active in these categories. Now they need to be active by showing these items to the viewers. If you're not listing every day in specific categories, they're not going to send you the consistent traffic for those items. And it was the listing habit that I developed was really able for me to master and speed up the listing process. It's like shooting 1,000,000 free throws. It's like going to the gym and making progress. It's like it starts small when you're starting out, but it takes repetition. It takes repetition in those fundamentals. 10 million free throws, 100 million golf swings to perfect your craft. So if you're just starting out and you go back and look at your listings and they go, oh man, they look terrible. That's okay, because everyone starts out terrible. Go back and look at Mr. Beast's first videos. Go back and look at anyone's YouTube videos when they first started out. They are awful. All of them. Everybody's that started from ground zero, their videos were terrible. But by the 500, 800, 1000th video, they have mastered the video editing process. the filming process, all of the processes that go into that, they mastered. So same with eBay. Is like you're going to get better as you perfect your craft. And that comes with developing a listing habit. Choose what you're comfortable with, choose what you feel like, what you want to be able to set as a goal. Don't set a goal of 50 items a day to start, and then you can barely list 5 a day. So that's why I just say start with a reasonable goal. Start with 3 a day, 1 a day. Like most people have full or part-time jobs, but they want to get into eBay and they want to go all in. I want to do 100 items a day. That's just not going to work. I'm sorry to say, it takes time to really get the process down, getting familiar with it, and going, once you've mastered 5 a day and it takes you 20 minutes to do 5 listings, then you can look at yourself and go, hey, I got an extra couple hours to put into eBay. Maybe I'll start doing 10 items a day. And then you need to consider, I need to be able to find 10 items a day to be able to list more quality items as you grow. So it was the listing habit that really got me those impressions and really gaining the trust of eBay to be able to continue with that growth. So I hope you're getting value. Smash the like button if you are. Love y'all. Really just had this on my heart to want to share. It's nothing special that I was doing. It was just literally adhering to principles. So number 4 would be my inventory system. So I started out in bins. I'd say my first 1,000 items on eBay, I started out in bins, and it was really getting tiresome digging. I felt like a squirrel. I was just digging all day looking for items. I was literally digging. And as you can't find that item, you start to get more impatient. You're like, where is it? And you keep digging and you're like, I can't find it. And now bins are falling on your head and things are flying everywhere. So bins are great. But I would say after about 500 to 1,000 items, there is a better system. And that was switching to this system you see behind me here, which is like a consecutive, sequential, numerical system where I'm able to pull items via SKU number, and just when I have to pack and pull items, now I just see the SKU and go, there we go, pulled. Everything is in consecutive order from left to right on the shelf. So I'm able to know this is the 9,000 through a 10,000 row. This is the 5,000 through 6,000 row. I know where all my items are to be able to pack and pull my orders and ship 100 orders within just a couple hours. Versus digging through bins, that would take days to do. So starting out with bins is great, but also having that long-term vision of like finding something that you can expand upon and that you can build upon would be more of this sequential system here on racks, which is kind of how big bookstores and magazine warehouses store their item through sequential consecutive order. So it's making it easy to find the items when they do sell. So that was number 4, getting and mastering your inventory system. Number 5 is processes. So this is things like your listing station, your photo station, your shipping station. Do you have to set up your photo station every time you want to take pictures? Do you have to set up a little corner in your room to ship out packages? This is where you really can go from a hobby seller to going, I'm going to build a business. So by setting up secured stations of a photo station that's designated and set up, is going to cut down your time, and it's going to eliminate some procrastination that does come upon us from time to time. You're going to see your stuff set up and you go, it's time to list. When it's out of sight, it's out of mind, right? But when it's in front of you, ready to go, you hit the ground running and you're ready to work. Same thing with your shipping station. Same thing with a designated listing station. I do all my listings from the desktop computer, and I have a standing desk where I'm able to have correct posture and really just maximize my efficiency as I do my listings. And I just say, consider, if you don't, setting up permanent stations for your business. Setting up that designated listing station. I would say procrastination is the most with listing. So setting up a permanent listing station will keep it top of mind where you're like, hey, that listing station's sitting there. I better get to work. So consider doing that as you continue to grow and mold and shape your business. Number six would be the mastering of those fundamentals. And going back to really, it was just the adherence to principles. Is you're either going to break yourself on the principles or you're going to make yourself on the principles. They are keys, and that's something you need to master, and it comes with time. Going back to the repetition of like, look at all professional athletes and professionals all throughout the world, is like they all started with the basics, the fundamentals. And we don't like that in today's society because we view that type of stuff as very boring. I don't want to do that. I want to pay someone to do it for me. But yet it's in that process that makes you a champion. It makes you a master. And people will come and pay you just to see you work. That's why we pay to see athletes on TV. This is why Buick pays Tiger Woods to drive their car. This is why money is attracted to that discipline. So it's in that discipline of those fundamentals that's really going to make the difference in your business. Timing yourself when you do your photos is a great way, because whatever gets measured, it gets tracked. And you're able to track, hey, it took me 1 hour to do these photos. And then maybe 6 months later, those same sets of photos are taking you 30 minutes. So consider timing yourself when you do a listing. Set a stopwatch and just go do a listing all throughout, hit list, and then track how long it's taking you. When you're able to track the time you're putting in your business, you're able to know how much you're making per hour. Because as sole business owners, and maybe you have employees or maybe you don't, you really need to be conscious of how much am I making per hour? Like, am I making minimum wage, or am I making $300-400 an hour? So you got to consider, hey, maybe I should start timing myself when I go out sourcing. How long is it taking me to buy product? How long is it taking me to ship items? And so forth. So, your stopwatch could be your best friend in helping you speed up your processes and get quicker. So, want to get into also the sourcing. For me, last year I started implementing bulk buyouts in my sourcing process. I looked for bulk clothing lots on Facebook. I created Facebook ads to look for bulk items. I reached out to other wholesalers, rag houses, donation bins, thrift stores. I called Goodwill and see if I could buy pallets. Finding what is going to work for you. And I don't quite recommend buying bulk to start out, but I do want you to consider it. If you are going all in on eBay, consider now, how can I lower my cost of goods? Because it's getting expensive in these thrift stores, right? How can I do what other people aren't doing? And most people aren't buying bulk. So if you're in it for the long run on eBay, you got to start sharpening your sourcing skills. Start reaching out to other people. Start calling around. There's over 50,000 storage unit warehouses in America. 50,000. If I were you, I would just start calling them. Call every single one in your state that's within a couple-hour drive and say, hey, I'm a bulk buyer of electronics. Do you have any empty units or units full of this stuff? Consider maybe start looking down that road. There's liquidation websites that are also hit and miss too. But, when I first started out, I spent the first 18 months of my eBay career handpicking every single item. And by doing that, I wouldn't be where I'm at today if I didn't do that. So I don't quite recommend sourcing in bulk to start, but consider it as you see your long-term vision in your future for eBay. And this was the game changer. It changed my life buying in bulk. I was able to source those same items that I would find in thrift stores before at a lot cheaper price. And you do need to realize that you're going to be buying items that you don't normally sell. So you need to be able to figure out, what am I going to do with the items that I don't put in my store? You need to either wholesale them out or figure out, I'm going to run a garage sale every quarter or something, because you'll be left with a lot of stuff that you don't sell. And you don't want to put it in your store if you're trying to niche down. So I want to take some time to answer some of the questions here. So let's see. WNRR says, hi, do you sell used clothes or is it just buying from different places and selling on eBay? I basically got a little haul of good clothing in storage and it is all used but washed in a very good condition. Yeah, so that just goes back to, yeah, I niched down in clothing and I saw the opportunity in clothing. It came from, I wanted to make my sourcing life as easy as possible. And by finding the clothing niche and knowing that, you know, metric tons every year get thrown away, it's available, right? Clothing is available in abundance. So that's why I really wanted to niche down into clothing. And I was able to master the brands that I wanted to pick up on a consistent basis. And yeah, it was buying from all different places, storage units. It first even started out with family members, family and friends. They go, oh, you sell on eBay? What do you sell? Clothing. And then being at my local church, then I have people bringing me bags of clothing. Here, I have this clothing. I was about to drop off to Goodwill. I want to help out your business. Also making it known to family and friends that what you do, what are you doing, what are you doing on eBay, make a Facebook post. Hey, I'm selling DVDs on eBay. And then you'll start having some people reach out to you and going, hey, I got 600 DVDs in my basement, ain't doing nothing, so come buy them. So make it known to people what you do. If you go to church, make it known. Say, people ask you, what do you do? I sell pre-owned clothing on eBay. Huh, wow. There's an abundance in all things. We live in a consumerism country. This country is it's a great opportunity for resellers to take stuff that people mismanage and you manage them and you reap the rewards. So buying from storage units is great. All different places. I highly recommend it. And yeah, I mean, list it if I were you. So Zachary Sneed says, hi, all. Driving, but tuning in. What's up, Zach? Hope you're doing well. WNRR says, do you pay fees if you don't sell the item? This is a great question. So you do pay an eBay reinsertion fee for the item that doesn't sell after a month. So it's between 15 cents and 30 cents per month that the item doesn't sell, which is why I implement a markdown strategy. If the item is over 120 days, it gets a 25% discount. If the item now becomes 150 days old, it gets a 35% discount, and so forth. As the product gets older and older, it's going to get marked down all the way to 95%. I don't care. I just want the item gone. And soon enough, your item will sell. It's usually title and price is the determining factor to why items don't sell in your store. So WNRR says, hi, Zachary. He says, do you teach people who have no experience reselling? Yes. That's why I started the coaching program, because I felt the conviction in my heart that if I was not sharing the secrets to reselling, then I would be dying full of those ideas in my heart, like really wanting to be able to take what I've learned in these last 28 months of selling on eBay and package it all in, condense all that material, and really speed up the process that it takes to learn the eBay algorithm, doing titles, doing pricing, doing photos, doing shipping, and really package it all for people that have no experience and make it easy to understand. Because like I said, time is money, and we don't have a lot of time to be wasting on a 4-year education to master items. People want to learn things fast and quick and hit the ground running. And the best experience is starting. The best way to start on eBay, to start selling on eBay, is to start selling on eBay. That's it. The best way to start selling on eBay is to start selling on eBay. Just start. Start before you're ready. Everyone wants to wait till everything's perfect. Nothing's perfect. You just got to make progress, not perfection. So Jared says, hello. Hello, Jared. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're feeling better. And are you still on, Bo? Yes, I am still here. Hopefully you can hear me and see me okay. The internet is hit and miss out here. I concur with the timing thing. I do that regular. Very good. 519 Retro says, hey, Bo, hope you guys are well. Hope you're doing well, sir. And WNRR says, thank you. You are very welcome. So going back through like the processes that enabled me to reach that sales volume of 178,000, these were those contributing factors. Going kind of over the inventory space, like really figuring out, we crossed over 5,100 listings. And I'd say once you get past about 500 listings, you want to, whether it's clothing or toys or whatever, you got to figure out, how am I going to be able to scale this and be able to store this amount of items so I don't lose items, and I can also speed up the process when these orders come in. So by switching to this system here, enabled me to not even have to think about, okay, when my store grows to 10,000, 20,000 items, I can just keep implementing this process here behind me and just keep adding rows, and also being able to just pull those orders when they come in with speed and efficiency. So you could start here with these bins. They're great. You can use bins for toys, books, DVDs. I probably wouldn't recommend for DVDs. More of an alphabetical order for CDs, DVDs, and things like that. But more hard goods is a good way to go with that bin system. So you can give that a shot, but also be thinking about the future. Like, do you have enough space to store 10,000 items in bins? So consider that as you're continuing to grow your eBay store. Processes would be going back to like what I said, is like having a designated shipping station where you can, after you pull your orders, you walk on over, you take them down, and you're able to just sit there and ship orders, label after label, and they just go in a box. Minimizing your movements is key, because how you get good at something is repetition. And if you're having to walk 10 steps every time to grab this thing and do this over here, you have to consider, it's like, I just walked 50 miles over the course of a year to grab a bag. So having everything close by, your shipping station where your ruler is, your labels, your boxes, everything close by within arm's reach is going to really help speed up your process. And then also I would say, like, your photo station, you want to have everything like close by you. Like my clothes, when I'm taking photos on the photo rack, or on my vertical flat lay, the clothing is right behind me. So I just grab it, set it up, take the photos, and then I grab the garment, and then it goes on a table behind me. So I barely have to take 2 steps to even walk these items over. So I'm not having to walk over here to grab the items. It's just really close, and I know where they're at. And all my items get sorted weeks in advance in a big pile here that you see behind me. So they're able to flatten out, no wrinkles, no creases, and help me look at them knowing that, hey, list that now. So listing station, also going back to like, what are you doing for your listings? Like, what are you listing from a laptop? Are you listing from an iPhone? Consider that if you want to go all in on eBay, you're going to have to really know that it's that process of listing, like being at a computer is really, can be hard on your neck and hard on your back and your eyes eventually. That, keep in mind, like maybe I'm comfortable listing from the laptop, standing up, or maybe you want to invest in like a second monitor to help do your listings, to where you can see, the photos on one side and your listings on the other. Just really, as you go on in your eBay journey, year after year, your body is going to start like taking the shape of being on a computer, and you're going to slowly start sinking. And it's like, that's why I have a standing desk where I can keep my shoulders up, and everything is just like, I don't want to develop any kind of injuries, because that could be really fatal to your business. So getting that quality permanent listing station is key. So I want to answer some more questions here. So Javani Flores says, hello, Javani. I haven't needed to go sourcing for weeks because church and friends keep giving me their clothing and items. That's a beautiful place to be. But my worry is you don't get to choose what you're receiving, so I can't control the sell through. Yeah, so I would say going back to, it's a beautiful blessing and that's awesome. Like either you have to have a system where you, if you're buying bulk or getting items in bulk, um, have that brand list of those 50 to 100 brands that you really know that you're committed to, and then you're gonna have to like let go of those items that you aren't familiar with or those items that you just don't want to sell, and having an alternative way to get rid of those. So either you're selling those clothing, the bulk clothing on Facebook, you can just box up some of those clothing and just sell them for 20 bucks a box, or you could just go ahead and donate those. But the worst thing you can be doing is listing items that you aren't familiar with and slowly flooding your store with items that you're not familiar with and then that aren't in demand. That's going to lower your sales conversion rate. It's going to lower your impressions, and it's going to lower your overall average sales price. So just keep that in mind. Like, it's cool that you're getting free stuff, but maybe like stick to 50 brands that you're like, this is what I'm committed to. Everything else is going into the donation bin. So, Javani also says, average, will this hurt, or is it good to just keep going and sell under market? So I price all my items at the median of the market. When I check sell-through rates, I sort from highest to lowest under the sold comps, and then I just kind of spend some time researching, condition, and kind of seeing like, where am I going to price this at a comfortable sell through rate where I'm not holding this item for years. So if you're really wanting to speed up sales, then yeah, price at the bottom of the market. Clothing is a very saturated category to where most of the times, things like Nike and J. Crew and Banana Republic, American Eagle, if you're kind of pricing at the top end of the market, those categories and those brands have slower sell through rates. So you're going to have to consider, well, maybe I'll take a little bit less and reinvest those profits back into my business to, buy more items rather than getting all of the money some of the time. One of the coolest sayings in reselling is, do you want some of the money all of the time or all of the money some of the time? And if you really take the time to think about that, we're not in the storage business. We're not here to just buy a bunch of items and be hoarders and sell two items a day and have 50,000 items in our store. We're in the money making business. We want to be able to take $1 and turn it into 20 quickly, so we can be able to take that money and buy 3 more items. And then you take those 3 items and you sell them, and then you take the profits from those 3 more items, and then you buy 6 more items. So you're continuing to duplicate money. It's like a money printer, right? So yeah, don't recommend, like, if it's a slower sell through rate, maybe consider pricing middle of the market, low end of the market to go and buy more items. So Zach says, does your wife help? Do you hire anyone? Are you doing this all alone? I am a solopreneur. My wife does help. She help. If she wasn't doing what she's doing, I could not do what I'm doing. So we have 4 kids that are homeschooled, ages 6, 5, 4, and 2. So she works harder than me. She is busier than me. So if she isn't doing what she's doing, I can't do what I do. She loves hearing about eBay. She loves learning the process. She knows how to list. She knows how to take photos. But as far as like her involvement with the business and working on the business, no, she's a total mom. she's a stay-at-home mom, and I do this so I can be able to provide for her and my kids, and then that is a great motivator for me to continue doing what I'm doing. She has found interest, and it is something we're also going to teach our kids, that they're going to, want to, if they want to start an eBay business, selling what they want to sell. It's something that is part of the homeschool curriculum of starting a business, maintaining a business, and growing it. Is a skill that must be taught. So, but I don't mind working alone, and I actually love working alone. I do have partners for sourcing, but I don't have them work in my business. They just source for me. I have two other picker friends that also are nonprofits that take in donations, and they will call me when they have a large amount of clothes ready for me to pick up, and that's about it. So Timberwolf says, what is your best sourcing method after you've learned everything to date? So buying bulk, buying bulk was the game changer, because as my business grew, it needed more of my time. And that means I had to pull time from other areas. It used to take me 12 hours in one day to source about 500 items. And that 12 hours I could have used in so many different ways. And I would say by buying bulk, I was able to take that 12 hours and put it into listing, photos, refining processes, to now where all I have to do is drive to a place and pick up the clothing and then drive home. I don't have to dig, I don't have to sort, I don't have to look. I just know that the people that are sourcing for me are picking up the items that they know that I like. And by doing that, I was able to cut a lot of time. I mean, 12 hours a week, that's, 48 hours a month, that's almost 600 hours a year that you could be putting towards other things. So, but like I said, if you're just starting out, you probably don't want to be buying bulk, but, consider it as far as like when your store grows, it's going to need more of your time, or you hire someone to do your listings for you or your photos. Mark says, hi, Bo. Just wondering, are you in the Reselling Nirvana group anymore? So I used to be when I first started out. I would say for about 4 months, I was part of this group. And this is what I recommend anyone doing. If you are just starting out on eBay and you're like, oh, this is overwhelming, find mentors that are not that aren't just like selling on eBay, but are dominating on eBay. Find eBay sellers that are doing $1 million, $10 million in sales volume on eBay, and pick their brain. This is with all aspects of life. If you want to learn to write books, if you want to learn to be a master in driving, go find the people that are professionals and listen to the principles and listen to what worked for them and what didn't work for them. And what might have worked for them might not work for you. But it's important to find and seek out help when you're first starting out. So I stopped being a member in that group because I felt like I had graduated that process and I had found the information that I needed to find. And now I just needed to master that information, because we get into the analysis paralysis, right? Of like, oh, I need more info. I need more because it's going to help me be great. It's like they teach a set of principles that it's like 3 principles. That's like, and they just repeat those principles over and over again. And they're like, until you get it in your mind and get these principles down, then you can go and see about how your business you see fit, because we're all in different situations. We all have different ways we want to build our systems and businesses. So finding out mentorships is great, and it is key to excel your process. Because if I was to do this alone, I would be still struggling to figure out the eBay algorithm, to figure out how to do titles and research, how to master brand knowledge, materials, fabrics, what to look for. So highly recommend joining not just any type of program, but finding the program that works for you. Like maybe you're a car parts seller. Well, find a car parts seller that has maybe a mentorship, or maybe even no mentorship, but reach out to them, email them and say, hey, can you work with me? I have access to all these car parts. Help me get them listed on eBay. So highly recommend doing that. And I can't suggest it enough, because our time is valuable. Mark says, you might have already mentioned, but how big is your warehouse? It looks great. Thank you, Mark. It is a 24 by 40 with 14-foot ceilings. So yeah, it's not like the biggest, but from where I came from, where I had mainly like 2 sheds, this is a game changer, and we moved for that reason, to be able to expand on that business. I'm able to double up on racks here, and just really, I could see ourselves the next 3 years of just filling this thing out and continuing to grow the store comfortably without having to worry about space, and packages hitting me in the head, and all these things that just kind of get a little bit on your nerves when you're walking through the aisles like this, and you're like, it's like it's having space is nice. So yeah, Timberwolf says, do you do markdown sales or coupons or both? Yeah, I do both. I take advantage of all the tools eBay has to offer. That's sending out newsletters. That's sending out buyer group coupons. That's doing markdown sales. That's doing daily coupons. That's doing private coupons for 40% off to repeat buyers that I send out privately through the bulk buyer groups. And, doing all those things is going to help you not only engage with the eBay algorithm, but it's just multiple ways for you to sell your item. So Jared says, but you get so many free listings per month. Does that include your relisted items as long as you are under that threshold, or do you always get charged a relist fee? So after the month of the free listing, if it didn't sell, then you would be charged the following month, and then so forth. So yeah, sometimes you start out with 250. Sometimes people get 5,000 free listings. It's after that month has expired, then you're going to be that reinsertion fee every month following until it sells, which goes back to, like, if you have slim margins, you're going to want to consider, like, I need to focus on high sell-through rates, because if I hold on to these items after 6 months, now you're in the hole, and now you're selling items for a loss. Mark says, thanks, Bo. Great answers. Much appreciated. Thank you, Mark. Thank you for listening to me kind of blab on here. But this is kind of just like, this was definitely on my heart all week of, like, what a blessing it is to be able to sell on eBay. And I really need to just kind of put this all in like a quick little demonstration of, like, it's nothing fancy that I did. It's nothing special that I did. I just applied the principles that I've learned through selling on eBay for the past 28 months. So getting kind of back into the last few slides here, don't want to take up too much of your time. These are just like some questions to ask yourself as you see you growing on eBay and going forward. And they're tough questions to answer. And I highly recommend writing these answers to these questions down so you can look at them and keep them in sight so you're able to refer them as you grow on your eBay journey. So what is it you want from eBay? What do you want out of eBay? Many people are happy with their career and full-time job, and maybe they just want to do eBay for a little spending money, for a little side money. Maybe they want to just put the money they make from eBay into a retirement account. So ask that question to yourself. What do you want from eBay? What is it going to provide for you? What are you looking to get out of eBay? Are you trying to start a full-time business? Are you wanting to just make a little bit of money and be okay with that? So answering that question is going to help you get clarity on, not having to stress out of, like, oh, I got to pick up this many items, or I didn't meet my sales quota for the week. So getting clarity on what you want from eBay is going to help you feel less stressed and going, like, I know what I want from eBay. Now, how do I build on that process? So where do you see yourself in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years? Ask yourself that. Ask someone else those questions. If you're wondering, maybe, you're so focused on this year, but where do you see yourself in 5 years? In 5 years from now, what is it? Where do you want to be in life? Do you want to own multiple properties? Do you want to have multiple businesses? Do you want to have multiple eBay businesses? Do you want to have employees? Do you want to retire from eBay and become a surfing instructor? I don't know. What do you see yourself in 5 years? Getting clarity on the long-term vision is going to help you stay on track and be persistent through those boring, mundane processes. So ask yourself that question and write it down. Write down the goals you want to achieve now. What is it you want to do today, this very day, to get done? Write it down and keep it on your desk. And did you meet that goal? What is it you want this week that you need to be doing to be able to advance your life in your eBay business? So writing your now goals down is going to help you create some accountability to yourself to go, hey, you're going from revelation to manifestation. It is not seen or known until it is written. So even just typing out on some notes on your phone or writing it down is going to help you manifest that into the physical life, to where like, hey, I wrote these goals down and they're sitting here year after year and I still didn't get to them. Stay committed to your goals and you'll be surprised on what happens. Plan. So planning is mankind's proactive approach to change. eBay is constantly changing. The world is constantly changing. But if you have a plan, you can be having that proactive approach to change. It doesn't matter what the economy does. It doesn't matter what is going on in your family life. It doesn't matter what happens around you. As long as you initiate the change that you want to see, you will be surprised on the outcome. Because there's people that watch things happen. There's people that let things happen. And then there's people that make things happen. Are you going to be the one who initiates change in your business? Because I'm not going to be sitting around letting things happen to me. I'm going to make things happen, because we can only control what we can do. There's things happening all around us that we can't control, but you can control what you do about what happens to you. That's what makes the difference. So what is it in your personal vision for your life? What is your personal life's vision and mission statement? What is it you want out of eBay to be able to provide and do the things that you've been wanting to do your whole life? Sight is a function of the eyes, but vision is a function of your heart. Doing what is in your heart is going to help you get more fulfillment in doing eBay and doing those things and those steps that are necessary to get you on to your purpose. So what is it that is in your heart? What is the legacy that you want to leave behind for the next generation to benefit from? I ask you this, that you were born for more. And I tell you that you were born to make an impact. eBay is great, and it is a perfect opportunity right now to be able to duplicate and multiply resources. But I tell you, if eBay is not fulfilling for you, there is more inside of you. And I know there is. So, I smash the like button if you're getting value. Wanted to jump on here just real quick to be able to just share with you guys what's been on my heart for the last few weeks. And, if you want to know like what exactly is selling in my eBay store, you can check out this video right here, where it goes more in detail on the items that we're picking up and what they're selling for, and breaking down kind of like where I got those items from. And you can check out the link down below if you're interested in the eBay coaching program for just $1 a day. I work with you via Zoom for 5 hours a week. So love y'all. I hope y'all have a blessed day and enjoy. Take care.